term used to describe a number of different techniques that are used to produce genetically identical copies of biological entity. The copied offspring, which has the same genetic information as the original, is referred to as a clone. A clone is reproduced asexually, which means it only inherited a full set of DNA from one parent. The most famous mammal clone is Dolly, a female sheep that was cloned from an adult cell in 1996. The Dolly died in February 2003. For adult cell cloning to take place, we need 3 healthy mammals. In this case, we use sheep. Now, sheep A is what we want to clone from. So we need the cell, an adult cell from sheep A. Now, this adult cell is already differentiated. It's already specialized cell. So it can be a skin cell or it can be any other cells. So what we wanted is this nucleus, the genetic code. So we remove the nucleus from this sheep A, this adult cell. And then we're going to put this nucleus into another cell. Now this cell is from sheep B. Now sheep B contribute an egg. And we remove the nucleus from this egg, and we only want the empty egg so that this nucleus can be put into that empty egg and then forming a new cell. So this new cell has got the nucleus of sheep A, but cytoplasm and the rest of sheep B. And then we use some electric shock to make sure this cell is able to divide. Now, once the division starts to take place and it starts to divide into a ball of cell that we call embryo. Now, this embryo is a ball of stem cell, is potentially going to grow into different type of differentiated cells and grow into a fetus. So we're going to put this embryo into sheep C. Now this sheep C's uterus will be the host for the embryo to grow. Now once sheep C carry this embryo and develop into a young sheep and then give birth to this young sheep, and this sheep is going to be a clone to sheep A because this sheep new baby contains the full genetic code of sheep A. Is cloning an ancient technology? Perhaps we can find some clues from the Monkey King. But who is Monkey King? The Monkey King is a legendary figure from a piece of classic Chinese literature, Journey to the West. He can turn himself into anything that exists, manipulate weather and wind, and is immune from fire and water. He is capable of seeing through any disguise, illusions, and transformations, and can copy himself with his own body hair. This superpower is called body outside the body. By plunking a handful of hair from his own body, the Monkey King threw them into his mouth, chewing them into tiny pieces, and then spat them out into the air. "Change!" he cried. The fragment of hair immediately transformed into hundreds of small monkeys, forming a large and densely packed army of monkeys. Afterwards, a magic spell could cause these small monkeys back into his hair. For me, the magic power, body outside the body, resembles to adult cell cloning. Number one, plugging a handful of body hair is almost like take adult cells of the body. Number 2, a magic spell change resembles to the electric shock. Number 3, fragments of hairs turned into hundreds of small monkeys are the clones of the monkey king. Embryo cloning means embryo copies. When a fertilized egg develops into a ball of cell, it is called embryo. Embryos are not differentiated yet. They have the potential to differentiate into different types of cells. At this stage, they are stem cells. So what we do is to separate this ball of identical cells called embryo into different small parts, and we're going to live in the laboratory and making sure they are secure and healthy, and then we're going to transfer them into different healthy mother animals. Now in this case we use cattle, for instance, and each cattle is going to host a group of embryo cells inside the uterus, and that cells will grow into young cattle. So those young ones, although they are given birth by different mother cattle, they themselves are quite identical because they carry the same genetic information. All of them come from one type of embryo cells, so they share the same genetic information. Cloning occurs naturally in many plant species. Single-celled organisms, such as bacteria, produce genetically identical offspring through cell division called mitosis. The strawberry plant reproduces asexually by sending out runners from the main or mother plant. Identical twins are natural clones. They have nearly the same genetic makeup as each other, but they have different genetic code from their parents. Tissue culture is an artificial cloning for plants. It is widely used in gardening and agriculture. Tissue samples can be taken from the parent plant, and the samples can be placed in agar in the laboratory, providing with the right nutrients, temperature, and hormones. Now, this way, those sampled tissues can be triggered and stimulated, and then they start to differentiate and grow the roots and leaves. And therefore, each of those individuals will grow into a tiny plant. So, each of those will contain the identical genetic information. To sum up, we have mentioned 4 types of cloning techniques. One is embryo cloning, one is adult cell cloning, and those ones are used for animals. We also talked about taking cuttings and tissue culture. Those ones are the techniques applied to plants. Now, going back to the Monkey King's magic power, my question would be, what type of cloning did Monkey King perform? Would you be able to answer these questions?